looking at the definition of the word gurmukh. And the message last time where we left, gurmukh dukh kade na lagge sareer, gurmukh haume chukke peer, gurmukh man nirmal phir mail na lage, gurmukh sahaj samavneya. And the message is, if you are a gurmukh, then what is a gurmukh? The one who follows the path according to the guidance of the true master. Gur means the true master. Mukh means the words that come out of his mouth. If you follow on that path in all sincerity, then you are a gurmukh. The antithesis of that word is manmukh. Man means your own mind, and mukh the words that come through your mouth. So if you are following your own mind, your own thoughts, then you are a manmukh. If you are following the life according to what Guru has said, then you are a gurmukh. Now that word is being expanded. That if you can't just say, yeah, I follow it, yeah, I heard it and I'm doing it. No, that's not enough. You have to see if these characteristics are developing inside you. If those changes are taking place. If that transformation is taking place inside. If the transformation isn't there, then you are living in an illusion that you are a gurmukh, but you really are not. That's the difference between living in the worldly life and living a spiritual life. Because in a worldly life, if somebody supports you, say, yeah, oh, it's okay, you are right. A mystic will never say that. A mystic will tell you only you are right if you really are right. If he finds those characteristics in you, that behavior pattern in you. So the message last time we were discussing, gurmukh dukh kade na lagge sareer. Sareer literally means the human body. And the message was that if you are really following on the path prescribed by your master, who's not a false master by himself, but a true master who has been there. If you are following, then this characteristic will develop in you, which is dukh kade na lagge sareer. You would rise above the feeling of misery, a feeling of euphoria, happiness and sadness, good and bad, right and wrong, black and white. You will start rising above all this dichotomy. Because the word is dukh na lagge. Lagge means it is there, but you are above it. The hot air is blowing or the cold wind is blowing, but you are in equipoise. You are above the dichotomy, the duality, positive and negative interplay. It's there, your muscle will feel it, but the mind will be totally free of it. Gurmukh dukh kade na lagge sareer. You would stop being bothered by the changes of pain and pleasure, or suffering or happiness. What is the next one? Gurmukh hame chukke peer. Hame means the ego. You will rise above the pain and suffering caused by ego. Now you can dwell on this thought and meditate. Is it easy to be a gurmukh? You can start walking on the path, but getting there is not a small accomplishment. Gurmukh hame chukke peer, the pain. You rise above. Gurmukh man nirmal fir mail na lage. Once you are on that path, you start cleansing your karma. You start burning the threads of the karmic debt. And the beauty is, if you are following on the path prescribed by the master, they will not come back. It won't be that you take 2 steps forward and 1 step backward and 2 steps forward and 1. It won't be like that. What will happen? Gurmukh man nirmal phir. Phir means once again. Mal means the same type of impurity in the mind. Na lage, it would not come. Once you get rid of it, it would not come back. But that's only possible if you are following on the path prescribed. When we do not follow on the path prescribed, even if we accomplish something, we immediately fall back. You can ask any university student. They will tell you that we heard the lesson and we made our all notes in the morning, they were all forgotten. Fell back to the old state. But if the lesson was absorbed with that clean mind, it wouldn't go anywhere. As it is true in the outer world, we have discussed here a number of times that in the day-to-day world we have experienced this. Yes, while we are here on Friday evening sitting in the group and the atmosphere is created, we are there and it's very enjoyable, everything is very hunky-dory, and the moment we step out of the door, back to square one. If nothing else, you will step out of the door and you will find the car is parked where you have to walk a little bit. Why the hell did you park that so far away? There goes your whole hour of meditation. Why couldn't you find a parking spot closer by? Now I have to walk all the way back. Where did this thought come from? Why is that? Because the path is not being followed according to the prescription. You think you are following. While you are sitting here and the attention is focused at a single subject, single point, mind is at standstill and you feel, yep, I got it. I got it. Then if someone was to ask you, what did you hear this Friday? Oh, I am not that good at explaining, but I understand. I can guarantee you, the day you understand it perfectly, you will be able to say it with the same perfection. There will be no doubt in your mind. the words will just flow. Because you're not thinking, what did he say, but what did he mean, and what did I hear, and you on and on and on. But if it is understood, then the flow of energy will be automatic. And that was what the message was. Gurmukh man nirmal phir mail na lage. Once you have reached that state, you are not going to fall back. And what is the result of that? Gurmukh sahaj samamanya. You are now a part of samamanya. You have merged into the state of equipoise, sahaj, where there is no positive, where there is no negative, where there is no right, there is no wrong, there is no hot, there is no cold, there is no dark, there is no light. It's all one and the same. You have now reached a state, as you can see, those of you who walk on the beach quite often, you can see the difference between when the ocean is quiet, not a single wave, and when it is very, very noisy and the waves are coming and striking the edge and then returning back. That has its own charm. But the mind will become like an absolute steady state, not a single wave on the surface. I remember when I was leaving Bombay, I spent about 4 years there. And I was sitting with my teacher, and he asked me, we were sitting on the beach, and he asked me, what are you taking back from Bombay? And I said, I wish I could take this ocean back with me. And he said, explain yourself. He said, see on the surface how quiet it is. Underneath there may be big fish turning in upside down. The ships may be running all over the place. There may be submarine driving underneath it. But at the surface, it is quiet and calm. And he said, it sounds very good, but that's not a very nice analogy. If you are going to be quiet and calm on the surface, you better learn to be quiet and calm inside also. Otherwise you will become a pretender. So that's a very good advice. So I brought the ocean surface with me to America, and then I started building that foundation when I came to America, right here. Inside and outside, equipoise, sahaj. Some of you still have the question of the experience when we had a young man here and we were having some hot discussion, and lots of you thought that I really lost my mind. And I went home very peaceful. I could not understand why you would understand that. I've been talking to you about acting in the outside world and sincere with the inside world. You couldn't see the acting? No, we didn't. Okay. That means my art is not that perfect yet. Equipoise, sahaj. You become part of it. Gurmukh man nirmal phir mail na lage, gurmukh sahaj samamanya. And if you are in that state, the hymn continues and says, Gurmukh naam milai vadi-aa-ee, gurmukh gun gaavai sobhaa paa-ee, sadaa anand rahe din raatee, gurmukh sabad karaavani-aa. These are all the characteristics of walking on the path. Whatever your name and fame is, you understand that it's not your doing. Whose doing it is? Gurmukh naam milai vadi-aa-ee. Whatever the vadi-aa-ee is, whatever your fame is, it's because of his naam. And you understand that. And you declare that. You don't have any pretensions about it. It isn't my doing. Someone else is pulling the strings. Why? Don't ask me, ask him. Why he is pulling only your strings and not ours? Ask him. There is no answer for that. It is his will. Gurmukh gun gaavai sobhaa paa-ee. Sobha also means praise, good name, good fame. If there is a good name, good fame, why is that? Gurmukh gun gaavai. It is because you are always thinking of him. You are always talking about him. You are always singing about him. That's what is known in the world. Isn't it very common that whenever we meet him or meet her, he or she is always saying this, doing this? Isn't it? This is how you remember the person when he passes away, isn't it? If somebody was to ask you to say something as a eulogy, what do? We try to describe the positive characteristics of the one who's gone by. And we find what were the normal habits. These are the habits of a gurmukh. Gurmukh naam milai vadi-aa-ee, gurmukh gun gaavai sobhaa paa-ee, sadaa anand rahai din raatee. There is a certain aura of blissfulness around that persona. Anand means a complete state of blissfulness. No wrinkles on the face, no anger in the eyes, and not even dancing around. That's also artificial. Just quiet, just peaceful. Why is that? Gurmukh sabad karaavani-aa. Shabad means the word. Because Gurmukh stays in touch with the word 24 hours. His characteristics start building into him, just as he stays totally unperturbed no matter what goes around in the entire cosmos, not just on the planet, not just on the planet Earth, right? I mean, there are galaxies, there are colliding together, and some are making new stars, and some are black holes are swallowing these stars, and you read these things in the astronomy nowadays. But he is at peace. He is not perturbed by any cosmic events taking place. There can be as many tsunamis and there can be the tornadoes or whatever, or earthquakes or whatever. His mind is not disturbed. Total standstill. Why? Because of that one word. Soundless sound. Focus on that. Gurmukh anDh sabday raataa, gurmukh jug chaaray hai jaataa. Anand means day and night. Sabday means word. Raataa means completely, actually merged in it, submerged in it. And gurmukh jo chaaray hai jaataa. According to the mythological stories, there are 4 yugas: Satyuga, Treta, Dwapar and Kali Yuga. And we are in the 4th stage or yuga today. Mythology has numbered these yugas by number of years. So many years for Satyuga, so many years for this, etc. Sikhism doesn't buy that thought. Sikhism says yuga is the internal mind condition. When the entity has not taken the birth yet, is part of him. That is Satyuga. Now the entity comes into the womb and start building the body. That is Treta. The body grows up, takes birth. That is Dwapara. Dwapara means the duality. Now he is in the world of duality. And as he starts growing up and acting in the world, that's Kali Yuga. It's not associated with the time scale, but it is associated with the state of being. That is why we can see that when it was Satyuga, according to the mythology, there were people who were completely of the Kalyugi nature. In Treta, there were people of the Kalyugi natures and Satyugi nature. In Dwapar, there were people of the Kalyugi nature, Treta nature and Dwapar nature. And in Kali Yuga, all 4 types are available as we speak. You will find Satyuga means the purest, the holiest. Means what? Satyug rath santokh ka dharma age rathavaho. That's how Satyuga is defined by Sikhism. You are living in a Satyuga when your entire life is guided by the pure dharma, pure spirituality. If you start living your life as a spiritual being, you have the heaven on the earth. There is no other heaven, there is no other hell. The world around you may be living in hell, but you will be in heaven because your life is guided by the spirituality. Satyug rath santokh ka. Santokh means complete contentment. No hankering of any kind. Dharma getravaho. Guiding principle is dharma.
Why do they say then Kalyug mein kirtan pradhana?
Oh, that's totally something else. They are basically Kalyug mein kirtan pradhana simply means that in this yuga, because you are living the life as a Kalyugi, you have to take your body, tan, and kirat, kirtan, kirat plus tan. Your body should also do a kirat, a work, something that gets closer to him. That's where the 10% concept comes from. If your body is devoting 10% at least of your waking hours in his memory, now you are getting closer to him, and that's what kirtan is, pradhana. The most important, pradhan means the one president, literally translated, pradhan means the president. The highest level of karma is that kirat that gets you closer to him. Hence, Kali Yuga mein kirtan pradhana, gurmukh japiye laye dhyana. You go into meditation till you reach the state of dhyan, third stage.
So the kirtan is not the kirtan.
No, that's singing, that's music. We mistakenly are calling singing a kirtan. Because we have had talks on this. Gun Govind gayo nahi janma karat ki. You haven't sung his songs yet. You are wasting your life. How come I haven't sung? The next line says, Kaho Nanak har bhajan mana. Bhajan, meditation. How far? Jeh bid jal ko mean. As the fish is related with the water, unless you have done the job to reach that state where your relationship with the world should be like the fish relationship with the water, when you reach that state, you have sung him. Otherwise, you haven't sung him. Our terminology has become so distorted. The language has become so corrupted that the meanings are not clear anymore. That's why I would suggest a Christian to read the Bible again from the spiritual perspective and try to see the hidden meaning in those parables. I would like a Muslim to read the Quran from that perspective and find the spiritual meaning in the ayat. And you will suddenly realize how far the clergy has misguided you. The things, the stories, the parables that you grew with, what did you think of it and what it turned out to be? You will find your own meanings now. You wouldn't need any priest. You wouldn't need me. You wouldn't need anybody. Your meanings, now you will be able to defend them. When somebody, if you have read Gita as a spiritual book and somebody comes to you and say, explain to me how can Krishna have 16,000 wives? You will be able to sit him down and say, let me tell you who is a wife, who is a husband, and what is the metaphorical meaning into 16,000 wives. When Krishna is being related with, story is this, that some Rakshasa, some demon king had captured a regime and all the unmarried girls were captured by him, and they were 16,000 in numbers. And when Krishna went and conquered him, freed those women, and the women said, we have no place to go. Society is not going to accept us anymore because we have been enslaved by this king. Nobody will believe us. We can only stay now with you in your service. That's the parable. Now see the spirituality in that parable. When you read the Gita and find the spirituality, what is 16,000? Don't get hung up on a number. when every single impurity in your mind, in your body is freed, taken out, they become your servants, serving you, rather than you serving them. This is what Krishna is saying. Now if you are going to read according to the traditional, then you become the laughing stock. One man, 16,000 women, and he is telling me to control your kama. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, ahankara, control it. Look at him, he himself hasn't controlled it. That interpretation comes from not understanding the spiritual meaning of the parable. That's why I would encourage everybody. Go read your scriptures again and find your own meanings, because there is a spirituality hidden in those stories. Every single one of them. And we have from time to time touched bases on the Islamic stories, on the Christian stories, on the Sikh stories, Hindu stories. When something comes up, we expand on this. They are spiritual writings. And the spiritualist, gurmukh gaavai sadaa nirmal sabday bhagat karaavani-aa, a mystic remains in touch with the spirituality 24 hours. But false guides are not going to lead you there. They wouldn't want to hear this. They wouldn't want to talk about it. They will tell you, I am the real one. Everybody else is false. They will openly claim it. They wouldn't say, Gita is also right, Quran is also right, Bible is also right, Dhamma is also right. They wouldn't say that. They will say, my book is right and all other books are wrong. That is a clear sign of a false teacher, master, guru, baba, sant, mahant, whatever you want to call it. They are all false. Which is what is happening in the real world. Here comes the line. Baajh guru te anDhaaraa. Without the true master, the whole world is in darkness. What is that darkness? It's not talking about this. We can put 1,000 watts bulbs here. The inner darkness is not going to go. It's talking of that darkness. The darkness inside. The inside darkness can only be removed by a true seeker, a true master, a true guide. Baajh guru te anDhaaraa. Jamkaal garthay kare pukaaraa. Garthay means they are captured, they are tied in bondages. And we feel the bondage every day. We feel so uneasy. Is this all there is to it? Whatever I am doing is completely thankless. Nobody even appreciates what I go through. You can ask any mother, she tells you the same story. You ask any father, he tells you the same story. You ask any brother, sister, friends. I do so much for my friends, but they don't do me anything. I was surprised to read a statement from a 19-year-old who just got engaged, and she tweeted, something is still missing. It looks like whichever way I care for everybody, they don't care back the same way. You know who I'm talking about? Miley Cyrus. She's only 19 years old. And she just got engaged to the childhood friend. engaged to be married. And she's saying, I'm marrying the love of my childhood, yet I feel empty. And why I feel empty? Because they don't love me back with the same intensity as I. Imagine when she gets married, what's going to happen. Where is this coming from? Where is this sensation coming from? Why is that emptiness? Why is that feeling? Jamkaal, garthay, kare, pukaaraa. They are in the bondage of the space and time. And they don't know how to free themselves from that bondage. And wherever they go, they end up getting another chain put on top of the other chains already there. They don't untie, they don't say, take these out. I mean, she's worth a couple of $100 million right now. For about 10 years, she was the star of Disney Channel, a daily show, was minting money left and right, and she's still empty. And when she goes to a church or to a mosque or wherever she goes, they are going to put another on top of that and say, take about $1 million and donate it here. And we will build something in your name. That should make you feel good. And that will make you feel good only as far as you are looking at that name. The moment you step away from it, the happiness is gone. In India, this is a very, very common tradition. The people go to their religious place and then they donate some money and they inscribe it on a stone. So and so gave so much money. And that stone is planted on the walkway or on the wall or something. And what is the feeling? As long as that wall is there, my name is going to be on it. A Urdu poet says, look at the state of mind, how we have trained the people. He says, hirse hafse hayate fani na gayi, is dil se hawaye kamrani na gayi, hai sange mazar pe bhi tera naam rawa, kya markar bhi umeede zindagani na gayi. Let me translate it for you. Hirse, the desires. No matter how many desires are fulfilled, they are still there. Ego doesn't die. And look at the state of ego. The man is dead, but he doesn't want to die. He puts his name on his, what do you call that, tombstone? Isn't it? Yeah. He said, look, he is dead, but he doesn't want to die. After death even, he inscribes his name. Kya markar bhi umeede zindagani na gayi. Hey, even after death you want to live? That you inscribe your name on a stone and put it on your grave? Can you not see? You lived your whole life in the ego. Last night they were showing a complete city in Italy where there are nothing but mausoleum of great people. Mausoleums specifically designed for specific people depending upon how much money they gave. They designed the mausoleum and put their body in there. And that entire city is built for that. That's a result of misguiding. When we are led to believe that you better lie underground 6 feet below the earth, because when the time of judgment comes, somebody is going to raise you from the dead. Isn't that the concept behind burial? That you will be raised from the dead?
Yes.
Isn't it interesting that I want to raise up in my old body? Why couldn't he give me a new body? Why he wants me to raise from the dead? If I am such a good soul, look at the mockery how they make of understanding. On the judgment day, all the righteous one will be risen from the dead and the unrighteous one will be sent into the hell. Not realizing, what are we saying? These bones, this flesh has lived its life already on earth. Why want I wake up in the same state again? Doesn't he have the capacity to give me a new body? No, but we'll continue following. The entire Western Hemisphere, European and American and all those, they have more land taken by the graves than the buildings. Because they hold on to that belief. Where does this come from? It comes from jamkaal, garthay, kare, pukaaraa. They are in the bondage of time and space and they suffer. They feel the pain and the misery and they cry for help, but they refuse to change. They refuse to understand that this was a false belief system. They would not accept that. Anand rogee, bistaa ke keede, bistaa main dukh paavni-aa. Then the entire life is spent in the misery. And they carry that misery in the next dimension. They bring it right back and keep on cycling. Is there a way out of that? Yes, there is a way out of that. How? Gurmukh aapee kare karaa-ay. The one who is following on the path, he doesn't make his own laws. He doesn't create his own hypotheses, his own theories, his own models. He listens to the master and master will tell you. He is the doer. That's it. Aapee kare karaa-ay. He is the doer. It's a drama. Stop making your own rules. The one who has the capacity to infuse the life in your dead body which has been buried for centuries under the ground, he can very well make you brand new. So stop making these rules. It is a play, drama created by him. Gurmukh aapee kare karaa-ay, gurmukh hirde vutha aapaay. Why is that happening? Because it is His grace. His grace shines that little light inside you and say, look at the reality. You have been given an independent thinking capability. Put it to test. I just went through an experience a couple of days ago. A girl in New Delhi is getting married, and on her Facebook she wrote, now it is the final run. Somebody wrote underneath it, who's going to be your owner? When I read that, I wrote underneath, she is not a cattle. She cannot be owned by anybody. Commodities are owned. People are not owned. And he wrote me back. He said, Allah knows better than any human. That's the first condition. Quran is the word of Allah. And Allah says, you own the people, not the commodities. I own my son, I own my wife, but I don't own my home. And that is my belief, and you are not going to change it. And I wrote back, thanks for enlightening me. I didn't know Quran says that you can own the people. I really didn't know. I didn't read that way. That's what the conditioning does to you. I mean, based on that hypothesis, I can understand why they think the wife can be beaten into submission. If she doesn't obey the husband properly, she can be beaten, she can be punished. Because they own it. It is ownership like a land. But I can confidently say that an evolved soul like Muhammad could never ever turn the human into a commodity. I don't believe that. It is some mullah who's interpreting it, turned it upside down. Because the ownership means you have a 100% total control over your possession. And we have used this metaphor. I own $1. I can spend it, burn it, tear it up, give it away, store it away. Dollar is not going to say anything because I own it. I don't own my son, I don't own my friend. I don't own even my body. It's not under my control. But that's the thinking. That thinking would not let you get here. Gurmukh aape kare karaa-ay. It's a play, it is a game designed by him. You cannot make your own rules. Gurmukh hirde vutha aap-ay. He resides in every one of us. I had similarly another experience, and these things are bringing those experiences out. Somebody wrote to me that the statement "kan kan mein Bhagavan" is wrong. God is omnipresent is wrong. Kan means every atom. Now, why do you say that? So, well, look, this table doesn't have God. This stone doesn't have God. And I asked, when a doctor gives you an injection and puts you to sleep, and he can cut you into pieces any time he wants, are you any better than stone at that time? You said, no, the body is complete. I said, then, is God gone in some place now? Is that energy gone someplace? Or that energy has been suspended for its time frame, put into hibernation? You say, I don't understand what you're saying. I'm saying to you that the solid matter, the energy is suspended. In the plant, it wakes up. In the animals, it starts walking around. And in the human, it starts meditating. He is omnipresent. If you say he is not in the matter, God is incomplete. You just found out where God doesn't exist. God exists in every fiber, in every atom, every molecule of everything. So metaphorically, when we say stone is dead, it doesn't mean the God is dead in it. God is completely asleep. Under anesthetics, you can cut it, burn it, it won't say anything. But you try to cut the plant, it cries. You try to kill the animal, it cries. You can try to kill the human, it cries. Why? The consciousness is evolving, rising in stages. But that you get only if you free yourself from the preconditioning, programming of your childhood. Otherwise, this will be an absolute, what did the Vice President say? Malarkey?
Malarkey.
Malarkey. I think that's an Irish term, isn't it? This is all malarkey otherwise for you. Gurmukh hirde uthaya pave, nanak naam mile vadi-aa-ee, pure gurte paavni-aa. This is a grace. This is a prasad. This is a blessing from the one who has been there. And the term used for that is guru. Only the true guru can show you these slight distinctions, the nuances of the words that are hidden behind it. So, this is hymn 26 on page 125. So we'll take a pause here. And if anybody has any questions or comments, the lines are still open.